Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Maryland Darling Show. And welcome to another episode of Introduction to Calligraphy. Hello, how are you all doing today? Are you having a nice day? I hope you're having a nice day wherever you are in the world. I just have to do this one thing really quick. I want to go to my channel to see if I can hear myself good. And we'll just test this out. Alright. I am live. Okay, so if the whir of the fan gets too annoying, please let me know. But that's what we're working with today. So, that over there, work tablet away. Let's do some housekeeping. Alright, open up some tabs to share the media with you guys. Host. Okay. Host. Calligraphy. Alright. Awesome. Alrighty then. Let's see. Let's do the other thing that we usually do. Today is the 21st of January 2020. The sun came up at 6:53 this morning and will set at 5:12 p.m. this afternoon. The weather is 73 degrees and sunny in Southern California. Let's see what's on the agenda for today. Today's blind views. So we'll hopefully get to see him later today. He's been ill, so hopefully he's feeling better. Today's question of the day is, if you had to teach something, what would you teach? And today's quote of the day is, I am no bird, and no net ensnares me. I am a free human being with an independent will. Oh boy. All of the email have been read for the day. And almost caught up on the Instagram. Ooh, very interesting. Ooh, that's very pretty. Ooh, I want a koozie. It's like a galaxy koozie. That is so cool. These people with their $1,000 pens, what do they think people are made of? Money? Are you insane? Oh my. Aw, pretty. Oh, look at how beautiful those pens are. It looks like I'm all caught up. Cool. Today's birthdays are to Kat. Hello, Kat. Happy birthday. I hope you're having a nice day wherever you are in the world. Let's see. This is my Facebook page. I took a brief business class yesterday. And one of the things that they said to do was make sure that your face is the same on all of your social media. So this afternoon I am going to be changing up my pictures to my social media. I thought I would let you all know. So you will get to see that tomorrow. Also, I'm looking for somebody to make me the intro song to my videos so I can play them at the beginning of my videos. If you're interested in doing that, I will give you credit in every video for it, and also possibly send some people your way to further along whatever you're into. Okay, let's see. January reminders are YouTube lives are at 1 p.m. Saturday's Bujo setup video. Friday's currently inked, so tomorrow is a currently inked. And today will be the last day of Intro to Calligraphy until the end of the month. And then we will pick up on the 1st of February, and I will be doing mainly we will be going over the basics of calligraphy and the basic strokes and some different types of writing that you may not be aware of. So hopefully you can come and hang out with me then. The pen of the day is the NOODLERS KONRAD with a Fountain Pen Revolution ULTRAFLEX nib with NOODLERS Brexit in ink. Excuse me, just 1 second. Sorry about that. Alright, let's do the habit tracker. Yesterday, I had a lunch. I watched all my subscriptions. Yahoo, Gmail, YouTube, snail mail, dinner, cartoons, took a shower, ate my pills, had coffee, tea, watched YouTube, and went to bed. I did not have a Zoom yesterday. I did go shopping yesterday. I did watch some Netflix yesterday. And I watched a little bit of TikTok. And I did not take my blood pressure. I haven't changed my batteries yet. I swear to God, I go through batteries every 3 days. So I'm thinking about trying to figure out a way to extenuate my batteries, or finding some type of system that doesn't take batteries that I could just plug into the wall. This morning I got up and had coffee and watched Kathy and had breakfast. I had eggs for breakfast. We did the calendar, the question, the quote, the weather, the Yahoo, the Gmail, Instagram, the birthday message, the Facebook notifications, YouTube comments, check the bank, and the EBT, and I am live. So, Let's take a look at the intro to calligraphy. Today we're going to talk about ink. Types of ink. We'll talk about fountain pen ink, gel ink, rollerball, calligraphy ink, marker ink, alcohol ink, acrylic ink, chalk, bleach, cost, and findability. I'm going to try and whack it out with one big overall style intro to thinking about calligraphy. That's what this should be called. Introduction to calligraphy. So, let's get on with it, shall we? Take a look at the Bujo, make sure that everything is copacetic. Blind views it today. I have not received my syringe. That's just great. Fantastic. Okay, where do we start? We're going to start with Sumi Ink. Sumi Ink is an ink that is made from a branch of a tree that has been charred. And I don't mean burnt to a powder. I mean charred in a way that burns it but not ashifies it. And when it is in its stick form, it can be ground down, mixed with water, and made into a type of ink. And this is Sumi Drawing Ink. They come in many different brands. This just happens to be the one that I found at Daiso. It was $1.50 for this big bottle of Sumi, which would normally cost me about $10 or maybe even $20 at the art supply warehouse. So this is really good stuff. It usually comes in black or a dark brown. Sometimes it will have a grit style. It will tell you the warnings, how many fluid ounces, and have some sort of writing on it about what it's made of, what it's all about. Here is the QR code. Here's the, what do they call this? GFC something. The code for scanning, the scan code, if you want to check it out. Cool? Let's take a look here. When looking for Sumi ink, you want to make sure that you're not going to spend a whole lot of money for something that you don't know that's going to work. Now, how do you know this without trying the ink? Because you could go to Google and go default lowest to highest, if the internet ever wants to let me have some. And you could get a tiny bottle, 2 ounces for $2 from eBay. Or you could go to Amazon and look up Sumi Ink. And you will come across these brands. Or you will come across this type of a thing. It's called a stick. A Sumi stick. It's made into a hard pellet and you use a piece of wood to grind it down into a paste to be used on your calligraphy. Cool. Alright, let's take a look at just a few fountain pen inks. You will find a greater amount of fountain pen inks than Sumi inks out there. They come in over I don't even know how many colors. There's got to be at least 1 million colors out there that ink comes in. And then when you can't find the ink that you want, there are kits like the Sheer Krishna ink that you can mix and make your own ink. I will be right back. Sorry about that. Got mad and threw a pen because it wouldn't refused to work. I don't know what the hell's the matter with this damn pen. Whatever. Just won't use it in the example then. It's fine. Deal with that later. Okay, let's talk about Rollerball Ink for a little bit. Okay, do we talk about fountain pen ink? You will find that fountain pen ink comes in many different colors, many different consistencies, many different brands. All you have to do is basically look up fountain pen ink and you will find all kinds of fountain pen ink. Gel ink, on the other hand, where are they? Comes in a different type of quote unquote rollerball style pens. These are jelly roll pens. They have a different type of consistency other than regular rollerball pens. With a more fluid-like consistency. Rollerball gel ink. Now what is the difference between that and say this type of pen? What is going on? Everything is against me today. I don't know what is going on with these pens. They gotta be... Okay, so what's the difference between these two types of ink, you're asking? One uses one type of a gel, and the other uses a different type of a gel. They're both gelatinous type of inks that have similar characteristics. This, for example, is a Pilot G2. This is I don't know what this is called. I'm gonna have to look that up. But this is a Chinese brand. Of gel ink, and it's 0.35 millimeters. Now, you may be thinking that, oh, there's a lot of ink in there. Sometimes you'll be tricked to learn that there is a coating, there is some sort of housing on the outside of the actual cartridge that comes in the pen. So beware. Fountain pen ink. I swear to God. Other types of inks are marker inks that are water-based inks. You'll know that you have a water-based ink when you can take water on a plate, preferably some sort of glass plate, because you don't want to do it on ceramic. Well, you can do it on ceramic, but you might stain your pen. You'll put a little squiggle like this, and then you'll do another color. We'll do red and yellow, for example. And then if you mix these together, you'll get orange. And I have a brush right here. No, I don't have any water. Oh, I do have water. If we just happen to mix these up a little bit, you'll find that they make water. They make orange. Some inks are permanent, which means that when you put the ink down, that it won't move. I don't do tests of water permanence because I've never had a problem with anybody telling me that their ink has left the page. I've never had that problem. Most gel inks are permanent or have permanent properties because people expect to have them written on paper so that way it stays. What's going on? I do not understand. All of my pens have seized up for some reason. Oh, the orange one still works. Works. Green one works. I just got these. Like, I do not understand. I'm gonna have to soak them in hot water. That's one thing that you need to know about these types of pens. If it has a click it, don't leave it with the nib down in the cup. They'll dry out. Some of these pens have a very unique type of filling system where you see that bladder on the top. See the bladder on the top? It actually works as a mechanism to keep the nib from drying out. Isn't that brilliant? This is a Pentel Sparkle Pop. Can't see this one very good because it's silver, but trust me, it's pretty amazing. Give a little pop to your life. Let's see. Let's talk about alcohol markers. Alcohol markers are different from other types of markers, like the Pentel touch pens, the Pentel touch brush pens, because alcohol markers work really good on certain surfaces and not on others. The thing I'm looking for, that would be great. I don't remember how it went. Okay, well, seem to have misplaced my my whiteboard. Well, we'll use this for an example. You can use it on a whiteboard and then wait 5 seconds and then you can erase it. I'll have to do. Other markers like this here, Sharpie marker, use a permanent type of solution. I'm going to do a very tiny dot because I don't want it to ruin my my board. But you can see the tiny dot that I made, and it doesn't come off very easily. One way that you can get this off is by taking a marker that is erasable. If I can find it, here it is. That is erasable, going over it, and then you can wipe it away. If you didn't know that. Okay, what else? Let's take a look at. Talked about rollerballs. Excuse me. Rollerballs have a different type of mechanism. They use a circular ball inside of a housing with a spring that pushes the ball and keeps it from falling out. And here is the ink. Sorry about that. Pencils use a type of wax, type of ink that is put into strips and then melted into a pencil and then shoved into a piece of wood. Brush pens. This is what I would call a fountain pen brush pen. You can take these bits apart. Somehow. I know that they come apart. Damn it. At any rate, I know that these come apart somehow. Or maybe they don't. I don't know. At any rate, you can take these parts, come with a barrel that are filled with ink and some sort of felt piece of felt, and then they go through a feed section and then out to some brushes. And if we're looking from like this down, there's like a hole in the middle of a bunch of brushes for the pen's feed section to use the ink. I don't know if that makes any sense or not. Okay, let's talk about the differences between calligraphy ink and fountain pen ink. For example, you would not put a Sumi ink in a fountain pen unless the pen came with very specific instructions telling you that you can put Sumi ink in that pen. For example, this is an Ackerman pump pen. With it came with instructions telling you that you can use Sumi ink and even other types of ink that you're not supposed to use in a fountain pen. So, don't do it. Otherwise, you will ruin your fountain pen. You will gum up the works and it will stop working. I swear to God, 5 minutes before this, I was fine. I wasn't coughing, I wasn't doing anything. The second that I get to talking, the voice wants to fuck up. Stop fucking up. Busy. Ain't got time for that shit. Do not do that with your fountain pen, by the way. Good afternoon to you, Gary. How are ya? Are you having a nice day? I am having a very phlegmy day. My throat will not leave me the fuck alone. Swear to God, I want to punch myself in the throat right now because it's so annoying. And my pens seem to have dried up overnight for no good reason. Well, that's a good one. Good. Red one writes. And the green one writes. The blue one writes. Damn it. The pink one does not write. The purple one does not write. The black one does not write. The purple one writes. The blue one writes. I'll show y'all how to fix these pens here in a second. Purple one writes. Dark blue one writes. Tight black one does not write. And the orange one writes. G2 writes. Alright, so these ones do not write. Yeah, we're supposed to be getting some rain also, which I'm not looking forward to. So if you're sending me rain, I'm gonna beat you with a stick. I don't like the rain. It makes all of my bones hurt, like they want to fall out of my body, so if you're thinking about sending me some, don't. Alright, so if you're having pens that are not being cooperative, and you want to throw them up against a wall, first throw them up against the wall. Just do it. What do you gotta lose? Then take your pens apart. Make sure and keep the parts together, because the parts together are important. Keep the little spring in where it's supposed to be. Okay. Then you go over to your little percolator and boil you some water. We're going to go boil some water. Be right back. 2 shakes. Okay, we'll do 2 shades. You can get yourself a little beaker, cup, or whatever. And then take your pens. Can you see what I'm doing? Okay. Oh boy! Okay, so then you take your little beakers, put your nib, dip down. In the boiling water. Boiling water is important. Gets the molecules moving. Sometimes that you'll find if you have a pen that refuses to write and you can see that there's clearly ink in there, sometimes it will need to be reconstituted. And in order to get it reconstituted, you need to warm it up. I had a problem with one of my fountain pens, or one of my, my gel pens. This gel pen had stopped working. So I took out the little gel part, and I ran it through the hot water. And lo and behold, it writes again. Probably better than it ever had before. Now that these have been in there for a little bit, let's see if they write. Ooh, that's hot. Nope, still needs some time. Oh boy, I'm so excited. Don't you dare send me any rain. How could you? Oh, love. Alright, what else haven't I talked about? Acrylic. Let's talk about acrylic for a minute. I keep looking over there. That's where usually my models are. This is acrylic ink. How do you know that it's acrylic ink? Because it'll usually tell you on the box. If it is acrylic ink, you'll need to use specialized brushes or a specialized type of dip pen to use with your acrylic ink. Because if you try and put acrylic into a fountain pen, you will ruin your fountain pen. Do not put acrylic ink in a fountain pen. Do not put gouache in a fountain pen. You might be able to get away with liquid watercolor in a fountain pen if it has a wide enough channel and a cleaner, like maybe a ebonite feed. Because if you put it in one with the little slits, the little fins will get clogged, and it won't flow good, and it will be a pain in the ass to clean out. Just don't bother. Don't bother. Let's see now. I do not know what is going on with this pen. Oh. Now, here's a little trick. If you're trying to figure out if your pens have any ink in them, get a light source, hold the pen up to the light source, and you should be able to see how much ink is in your pen. This one is, obviously, it's running out, which is very sad. There wasn't even that much ink in there. At least not that I can remember of. So, and you might just try and scribble with it for a little while. Let's see if this one has any ink left in it. This one should have plenty of ink left in it, but it refuses to write. We should write Pilot and be like, hey man, look, I got these stupid gel pens and they don't work. Sometimes you can get it to work. Other times you won't be able to get it to work. You'll just have to chuck it in the bucket. I just used these last week. What the heck? Like I can see ink in there. You guys can see the ink. There's plenty of ink in there. So, the last resort is using a flame to warm up the nib. I do not recommend this. You could break, melt, or light your house on fire. Don't, if you can avoid it, don't use a flame. However, in certain circumstances, if you're a pro pyrotechnic person and you know about hot things, then you can use a little bit of flame on the tip of the nib, not even like touching the tip of the nib, just to get it warm enough so that the ink will flow again. Let's see about this one. Sometimes using the friction from the paper will warm the nib up too and get it to flow. Dang it. And sometimes you'll just have to I'll just have to let it go. Let it go. Don't hold it back anymore. Let it go. Let it go. Turn away and slam the door. Oh! I don't wanna. I don't wanna go. You can't make me. Ah, stupid. I'm gonna write Pilot Japan. Tell them about my incident. Maybe if I send them these pens, they'll send me new ones. Pilot Japan is usually pretty good about taking care of their customers because they want you to be happy and keep buying their products. Of course, I'm not really concerned about the Pilot Friction pens. I mean, they can go chuck it in the bucket because I have Jelly Roll pens that I love and admire and adore because of my friend Jolynn. So, Jolynn, and when you're watching this, thank you. I appreciate you so much. These are... Where are they? Oh, right on my desk. I very much appreciate my Jelly Rolls. They never give out on me. Of course, I can't erase them, but that's okay. That's all part of the learning process. Okay, let's talk about, let's see, we talked about alcohol. Acrylic paint is meant to be used with a dip nib. And if you don't know what a dip nib looks like, they usually come in little sets like this, or you can buy just the pen by itself. You can buy a set of nibs like this for about $10. Comes with 10 nibs for $10. Or you can buy individual nibs from a place called Blink.com and maybe try out a couple of different nibs. See if you like them. And then you can buy more. Come on. Why is it always the one that I want to use? It's the most difficult to get out of the damn box. Still use this? I can still use this. So, acrylic paint has a very permanent property to it. It is mixed with a glue type substance that needs to be shaken, otherwise you'll get sediment, you'll get separation. And when it goes on rather smooth. And you don't want to use water to thin out your acrylic paint. You'll need some sort of other type of, and it will come off much faster depending on how much you have on your nib. Let's see if I can get a good blob going. Then directly after using your dip nib with the acrylic calligraphy paint, you will need to wash your nib off with acetone or rubbing alcohol, because if you leave it on there, it will muck up the nib, the slit, the tipping material. It'll just wreak havoc. So make sure that you have a little bit of rubbing alcohol standing by, so that way you can clean your nib good. You don't want it to muck up your nib. I mean, they're not terribly expensive, but at $1 a piece, you want them to last a while. Always make sure that they're dried off real good too before you go putting them back in the box. Void of any water, because they're made of spring steel and steel rusts. And you don't want your nibs to rust. And always make sure that you close your bottles directly after use, because you don't want them to dry out and then be not usable. Cool? Let's see. Another one that I didn't put on the paper is, this is food color. Yes, you can use food color. However, you're going to find that sometimes you'll get the crunchy stuff going on your pens or your dip pens or your brushes. So make sure and wash them really good with water after you're done using it. Another substance that people sometimes use to do calligraphy with, oh dear, is chalk. So people will grind up the chalk with water and use it on a dip pen or a paintbrush to paint on a canvas or a piece of paper, kind of like the Sumi ink block that we saw earlier. And sometimes you can get a really cool type of art when you're using chalk as a medium for doing calligraphy. Most pieces of chalk that I have ever seen come in little sticks like this. And they have a little protective barrier that's like Fort Knox to get into. But once you do get into it, you can use a little piece of chalk. Quite difficult to get out, and they break very easily, but you can get some pretty cool line variation by just using chalk. Cool? And we'll talk about that more when we come back in February. Oh my gosh. Sometimes they're very difficult to get in there. So just use your patience button. Because otherwise you may want to throw them against the wall. And then they'll break. The other substance that people sometimes like to use is bleach. I don't recommend using bleach in your fountain pens. However, you can use them with your dip pens as long as you wash them right away. Make sure that you don't have any on your hands and use it very sparingly, very carefully. And you can get some really cool looking art. There are other types of ink out there. You can use gouache, which I do not have. You could use watercolor, which I do have some watercolor somewhere. People sometimes use watercolor to do calligraphy with. So some people use water and then they will use it on a dip pen by taking a nib. I'm just going to grab whatever, putting it in there in the holder. I don't know why this one is being so difficult. But then, so they'll take and they'll put a little bit of water and a color. They'll move it around a little bit. And they'll make sure that they have just enough color. And then they'll paint it on the underside of their nib. And they'll get to use it just like any other ink. Try to do this without making a mess. Cool. And we'll get into form and things like that later. Just give you an idea of the types of inks that you can use to make calligraphy with. Cool? Always make sure that you wash your brushes off real good after doing your calligraphy. And making sure that you pat them dry good. And then don't forget to put them back with your little kit. I mean, I got this at the 99-cent store, but I'm sure you can find some really fancy ones out there if you're interested in doing that type of a thing. And it's a very cheap way to change up your ink colors if you want to. 99-cent store and a dip pen. That's where it's at, let me tell you. So, let's see, what else? Watercolor, alcohol, bleach, cost. Let's talk about cost for a little bit. when you're thinking about doing your type of calligraphy, how much money are you willing to spend on your materials that you use to do whatever type of calligraphy that you want to do? This cost me a whole $1 in the art section of my 99-cent store. I paid about $25 for this here set of Pentel Touch sign pens. I paid like $3 for this glass dip pen that has some inks in it from Wish.com. This here Sumi ink was $1.50 from Daiso. My most expensive ink by volume was this right here, this Jerbon Kyanite du Nepal 50 ml bottle. I think it's a 50 ml bottle. Let's see. Yes, 50 ml bottle for $25. A rather expensive ink, but it is very beautiful and it cleans out really well. So you kind of have to think about what you want to do with your ink, what type of effect you want with your ink. Some inks will come with shimmer. Some will come with sheen. What is the difference between shimmer and sheen? Let's see. Let's take out do we have any shimmery, sheeny inks in here? Maybe not. Let's see. I know I have one somewhere. Okay, this is a Sheeny Ink. Try not to read my writing because it's private, but you will see that in the right light, it kind of looks like a mirror is happening. You see the little bit of yellow that's happening? That's from the reflection from the wavelength of light coming from the light source, reflecting off of each of the individual letters and into the camera. And you can get some really cool looking sheen going on. Shimmery products, let's see. Do I have any shimmery? This is July. Okay, so for example, do you see the little particles? You might think that it is sheen, but it is not. Those are individual particles of reflective material that are individual little particles. You can definitely see the individual little particles. And they will smear off if you smear them. You can kind of see the little individual particles around. And the difference between the shimmer and the sheen is shimmer can be any color that the particles are. For example, this is silver luster dust, and this is gold luster dust. They're individual little tiny particles that have been blended up, made into a powder that are thin enough for human consumption. And you can kind of see this is copper sheen, a shimmer, copper shimmer. Even have it? Nope. I don't think I have any Sheeny inks in this book. Anyway, I hope that that helps. There are a lot of different types of ink properties out there. Water can be used as an ink even. There is a very special type of paper. I do not own any. But it looks like a picture without any color. And when you add water to it, the color pops. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I have seen a video of it, so I know that it does exist. I don't know what it's called. Anyway, if you know what it's called, please leave that in the comment section below so everyone can learn. Let's talk about findability. You can find most of the products that I talked about today on Amazon. You can find them on wish.com. You can find silver and gold and all of the colors shimmer on hobbylobby.com. Now, you can add your own shimmer to a color if you find that you don't like how bland a color is. We'll get into color mixing another day. But this I found at a store called Daiso. If you know about Daiso Japan, then you know that everything is very affordable. I found this at the 99-cent store. I found, my friend Jolene gave me these. If you have a friend that will let you borrow some pens to maybe have a special look, you know, share your stuff. It doesn't hurt. Maybe You could let a friend use a pen that you have for a month and then have them send it back. You know, borrow a pen out. Kind of like, I wish they had a library of pens. You get to use the pen for a little bit and then turn it back in. Of course, you'd have to make sure it wasn't broken or anything, but that's a thought. And like I said, the most expensive one that I have, I got on Amazon, and it was like $25 for a 50 ml bottle. So, if you can find ink relatively cheap, you can definitely start doing calligraphy. Let's see, where did I find this? I found this at Hobby Lobby, I think, for $7. It came with 3 nibs, this little tiny bit of Sumi ink, and this pen holder with an oblique flange. We'll talk about that in another episode. $7. Good stuff. I have heard people using their countertops and flour as their quote unquote ink to use when doing calligraphy. I'll teach you guys about that too. We will call it we'll call it cake flour calligraphy, because I can't think of a proper name for it right now. So, let's see. If I'm forgetting anything, please leave that in the comment section below. I am very curious to know if you guys have anything special that you thought of that I can't currently think of. And if you want to collaborate, let me know that too. That would be really fun. Maybe we could have a Zoom call and record our thoughts on some calligraphy. Anyway, that is all for today. I think we did get a good majority of these things done. Calligraphy ink is, let's see, it's mostly India ink. India ink is a type of Sumi / gouache / acrylic ink, which is not stable for fountain pens. Do not put calligraphy ink in your fountain pens. We talked about markers. We talked about alcohol ink. Some inks come in a little pipette or a little squeeze bottle. You can squeeze the ink onto your or in a bottle, so you can dip your nib in it. Acrylic ink, we talked about chalk, we talked about bleach, and we talked about cost and findability. We talked about watercolor and gouache and mixing inks and gum arabic. Gum arabic is a tree wax sap that has been hardened, and sometimes it comes in a liquid form, and it is mainly used to thicken inks. At least that is my understanding of gum arabic. It's to make things stickier. If you have a calligraphy dip pen ink that doesn't stick to your nib, or it just blobs onto the page, it might need to be thickened up. You can do this two ways. You can use water. I know that sounds crazy, thicken something with water, but if you use water, water has a sticky property to it. Hydrogen and oxygen like to stick to each other. I'll thicken it up. You can use things like my brain is sorting out. You can use other inks that are similar in that category. If you have one black calligraphy ink and you don't think it's being sticky enough, you can use another black calligraphy ink to make it more thicker. For example, I have a pen that I use to do the birthday message with. That's this one right here. The only ink that works really well in this pen is Waterman ink. It's a very wet ink, and if I were to use any other ink in this pen, it wouldn't flow very well. On the other end of the spectrum, I have this here Fountain Pen Revolution Himalaya. If I put the Waterman ink in this pen, it's just going to blob out onto my page. It's too wet. This will come with time and experience with different types of inks, different types of pens. You'll figure out which work and which do not work. If you're using a dip pen, gum arabic is good for thickening up an ink. If it's too wet, you can mix gum arabic with fountain pen ink in a vial, of course. You wouldn't do it in a bottle, but in a vial, say like this. You mix just a little tiny bit of gum arabic in with your fountain pen ink. Shake it up real good. Make sure it's well incorporated, and then you can use your dip pen to write with it. And then if you find that it's too thick, you add a little bit of water, one drop at a time. I hope that helps. Anyway, that is all for today. I hope I went over everything. Please share this video with your friends, follow me on social media, and I will be back tomorrow with another video. Tomorrow is Friday. It's a it's a currently inked video. Tonight I will be emptying all of my pens and putting them away, and we will be back tomorrow with all new pens. Hiya Larry, how are ya? Are you having a nice day? You're a day late and $1 short. I was just about to sign off. So, go back and watch the video. Anyway, I hope that you're all having a nice day wherever you are in the world. And I'll be back tomorrow with another video. So take care until then. Okay, love you, bye.